All right, I want to share something with you, just in case you think that the Trump administration never says boo to the Russians and totally disclaims any incidents involving, their participation in trying to screw up the 2016 presidential election. I want to share these comments from National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster just a few moments ago at a conference in Munich, Germany, to some of his Russian counterparts. Take a look.
I'm surprised there are any Russian cyber experts available based on how active most of them have been against and undermining our democracies in the West. So I would just say that we would love to have a cyber dialogue when Russia is sincere about curtailing its sophisticated form of espionage, what you might call this modern-day sort of form of Maskirovka.
All right, whether that represents a shift in thinking on the part of the White House or that they've acknowledged that this is now more than just a hoax, their participation in the 2016 election, right after we heard from Bob Mueller's office and Rod Rosenstein, the Deputy Attorney General, that they are really cracking down on this, and 13 Russian entities, to say nothing of 3 Russian companies that were actively involved in trying to do just that in the last election. This does seem to be the administration's first salvo response to that they recognize the Russians were involved. Now, the question is, how much are they going to police this for 2018? Retired FBI Special Agent John Iannarelli. John, what do you make of the significance, to me significant, of McMaster's comments in Munich a short time ago?
No surprise at all. Everybody in the FBI, anybody who works cyber investigations in any sector, knows the Russians are a problem. Actively engaged in looking at everything they can get into, not just the government, but our private sector as well. We're at risk.
So, John, now the message is, what do we do? Apparently, the fear seems to be that the Russians are going to try to do the exact same thing in this election year and in the next election year. And apparently they came up with all sorts of smart methods, if you're to believe this report, this indictment, to do just that. And, ginning up Democratic crowds, Republican crowds, all types of crowds. What do you do?
Well, the good news for the American public is the way our voting system is set up, they can't actually manipulate votes. That's the good news. The bad news is all the social media and all the different algorithms that can be used to influence the public. We need to take a closer look at how that's being secured.
But how do you know, John, that doesn't influence votes? Among some. And I agree. I don't think to that report that it changed the outcome in any way. But there is the potential, if done craftily enough in key states, it could.
Well, what I'm implying is that if you have social media sending out messages, certainly people are going to listen to that, and there may be those who are influenced.
On both sides. On both sides.
Absolutely. But what we need to look at is the problem in private sector companies. They're more concerned with who's paying the bills, not looking at the bigger picture. There has to be some social responsibility in the business to recognize who is trying to do something for nefarious purposes rather than just accepting income. I would say with the 13 people indicted that are Russian citizens, it's going to go beyond there. They're going to look at who knew they were Russian citizens trying to get into our election system.
But, John, don't you have to get them to come to the United States to tell their story? And that's not going to happen.
No, I don't see anybody jumping on a flight to the United States any day soon so that they can spend some time in a prison cell. But I think we have to worry about what's going to happen in the future. We've identified through the work of former Director Mueller what's taken place. Let's make sure the next election and every election after that is being protected.
Do you think now with these latest attack lines that we're getting a sense from maybe the Mueller investigation where it might go, or is this apples and oranges? It doesn't necessarily mean that this will be something that doesn't put any fingerprints on Trump campaign officials or the like?
I think at this point you're looking at the surface of who is directly involved. They're certainly going to continue the investigation to see if there's any peripheries. But if, in fact, there had been people that were politically connected, involved, that's a high profile. One would think they would lead with that rather than just announcing indictments of low-level people.
All right, John, thank you very much. Iannarelli, a former retired FBI special agent.